Nye Frank, pretty amazing guy, and the guy did everything.
Whatever he would say, for the most part, was gospel.
Nye clearly was a master in all the different areas. When he did drag racing, he was a master of it. When he did speed, land speed, he was a master of it. He did some hydro boat stuff. And when he did off-road, all of his stuff won championships and won races in all the different vehicles that he had designed. A really fierce physical presence. He was a big guy. Back then he smoked cigars. So he'd come in this towering figure, you know, carrying the motor with this big stogie and smell up the room, but that's how everything was back then.
His medical arrangement was he had a certain blood pressure medicine, and he also included Miller Lite. It worked. He was always Mr. Low-Key. When it came down to race time, Nye had a good calming effect on talking to us and getting us to get our race face on.
The first time I met Nye Frank actually was when this car here was being built, and that was 1968. Nye Frank did this complete body on this car along with Tom Job. I mean, this canopy and all of the body work on that. The guy was an absolute genius when it came to body work.
He was really wildly successful in drag racing. Now this is right out of high school for him. I know that he had never lost a driver, and in that time period, really they were dropping like flies. They were at a race, and one of his drivers hopped in someone else's car just to give it a run, died. That run, the guy died.
My dad wouldn't let me race. I couldn't do anything. I had a toolbox, that was all. I didn't have any welders, I didn't have anything. But Nye let me come to his shop and do it. Now that's a big deal. That's going against what Mickey Thompson wanted. Nye enhanced my racing. Went to his shop with Quinn Epperly and Tom Job and built my first race car there. Nye stepped up and made that happen and really kick-started my career. That was a really, really big move for Nye to do that and do that on his own and go against what my dad's beliefs were. So pretty darn cool. Thanks, Nye.
He did Indy cars before, and Indy cars, it's such a big program and a big budget, and you have so many fingers on the pie that you have no freedom. You're a parts changer. Really, he loved the freedom of design and off-roading. He chose it.
Nye Frank is the engineer and builder of the race vehicle that Mazda will enter in the Baja. Designing a truck that can withstand the unforgiving conditions it will encounter begins at Mazda. But Nye adds his talents to ensure that the truck will withstand punishment that far exceeds what any sane driver would subject it to. Driver Glenn Harris and mechanic Dave Clark explain how it all comes together.
You're not bound by so many rules. You know, you have 4 tires and some shocks, and you're going to go from point A to point B, and you got to get there as fast as you can.
Driver Glenn Harris is a veteran of many Baja campaigns and has a wall of trophies to prove it.
We met at the track. We were able to get instant results. It was a great opportunity to always drive something that Nye had built. He did wonders for my career. I really appreciate the fact that Nye was able to come into my racing career when he did.
Well, thank you very much, Chuck. It was definitely a workout out there. There's so many good competitive drivers out there and such good equipment.
And I forever will remember the great opportunities and the successes and victories that I was able to get by a Nye Frank built run operation. It was impressive.
I mean, what he did for Rob McCachran, what he did for the Mazda team and Mickey Thompson Stadium Racing. You know, he challenged the Toyotas and beat the Toyotas.
He was the giant killer. In other words, you didn't need the team of this and that. If you gave him the basic components and a reasonable amount of time, he would overtake an army of people.
He didn't go to like a school for that or go to ITT or UTI or anything.
The guy was just an absolute genius with ideas. He would think and think and think and come up with ways to make things better than other people.
Nowadays it's different where you can go buy a kit car, you could buy a chassis. There are really not a whole lot of Nye Franks in this world.
It's a rare individual that can do both, that can conceive a car, engineer it, build it, and then make it work.
I personally would have to say Nye Frank is the epitome of what the Off-Road Hall of Fame should have as inductees.
He was my best friend for many years. I mean, you could go to Nye besides trying to come up with some way to, how do you fix this or how do you make that? And you could talk to him about anything, from prostate cancer to how fast a Bonneville car would go. So absolutely magic guy.
And Nye is totally my mentor. Anything I do I do to honor him. Even the new truck I have now, there's people that have been around a while and they say that it looks like Nye built it. That's a total compliment. I don't know what I'd give for an afternoon to talk to him right now. You know, when people ask me about him, I forget about all the racing stuff, because the racing is just it's a blur, it's a thought process. It wasn't luxury. We're in the trenches. We're going out to the middle of nowhere to change a transmission, but we're also getting first place at a peninsula run. We're also just enjoying the life. It's definitely a lifestyle, and it's totally fun, living the dream.